If each U.S. state were a character at your family Thanksgiving, you'd have the loud uncle, the conspiracy theorist cousin, the vegan yoga aunt, and probably at least one guy who brought fireworks just in case. America isn't just a melting pot, it's a chaotic chili, and every state has its own secret ingredient. So let's take a road trip through the most ridiculous, fascinating, or just plain weird superlatives of all 50 U.S. states. Alabama, most likely to break into song at a football game. If you've never heard a grown adult yell "Roll Tide" with the intensity of a Shakespearean monologue, you haven't truly experienced Alabama. This state is violently passionate about college football. Saturdays here aren't for brunch. They're for war. Friendly war. Sort of. Alaska, most likely to befriend a moose. Alaska is basically America's attic. Big, cold, and full of mysterious things you probably forgot we had. Also, Alaskans might be the only people who could fight a bear and win, then grill salmon afterward without flinching. It's also the biggest state by land. That's right. Texas. Sit down. Arizona, most likely to fry an egg on the sidewalk. Arizona is where heat goes to retire. You haven't experienced hot until you've stepped into your car here and melted into your seat. But hey, at least it's a dry heat, which is what everyone says seconds before spontaneously combusting. Arkansas, most likely to be mispronounced. No, it's not Arkansas. And yes, they will correct you, preferably with a shotgun in hand while standing next to a catfish fryer. Also, home to Walmart's birthplace, so if you've ever elbowed someone over a $90 TV, you owe Arkansas a thank you. California, most likely to fall into the ocean. While Instagramming sun, surf, startups, and spiritual awakenings, it's California, baby. Also, most populous state, most celebrities per square foot, and possibly most kale consumed. Just be careful. If you're on the coast too long, ahoy, the land might slide out from under you. Colorado, most likely to hike a 14er. Before brunch. Colorado is that outdoorsy friend who always smells like pine and owns 3 Patagonia jackets. Known for its mountains, legalized recreational herbs, and more dogs than people, probably. Colorado is nature's playground, if nature had artisanal beer. Connecticut, most likely to sue you with a smile. Connecticut is fancy, polished, and secretly ruthless, especially in debate clubs and property tax meetings. It's like New York and Massachusetts had a kid who studied law at Yale and plays tennis aggressively. Most Ivy League energy per square mile. Delaware, most likely to be forgotten? Sorry, Delaware is the first state, the OG, the pioneer. And yet, if you asked 100 Americans to find it on a map, at least 47 would point to New Jersey and 22 to shamefully blank stares. But it's still number 1 in filing your LLC in 3.7 seconds. Florida, most likely to wrestle an alligator at 3 a.m. and win. Florida is America's wild card. A beautiful, bizarre land where you can see a retirement home, a rave, and a python wrestling contest within a 1-mile radius. Also the undisputed champion of most insane headlines. Look up Florida Man and thank us later. Georgia, most likely to deep fry a shoe and make it taste good. Georgia has 2 speeds, slow southern charm and full speed Atlanta traffic. It's where sweet tea is legally considered a beverage and a life philosophy. Also, peaches. So many peaches. Not metaphorical ones, just a genuinely uncomfortable amount of peaches. Hawaii, most likely to make you quit your job and surf forever. If paradise had an area code, it would be Hawaii. Stunning beaches, volcanoes, and the ability to wear a floral shirt at all times without being judged. Most likely to give you existential joy and sunburn in the same day. Idaho, most likely to be a potato in disguise. You think Idaho, you think potato. And honestly, they're okay with that. But don't sleep on its stunning mountains, clean rivers, and surprisingly intense militia energy. Idaho could secede and not tell anyone for a week. Illinois, most likely to be ruled by one city. There's Illinois. And then there's Chicago. Everything else is just corn and cousins. But Chicago alone packs enough deep dish, politics, and blizzards to justify the whole state's fame. Most pizza-related debates per capita. Indiana, most likely to host a NASCAR race in your backyard, home of the Indy 500 and Hoosier hospitality. Indiana has a down-home vibe with a surprising need for speed. Also, the state fair here could feed a small nation. Most butter sculptures per square mile. Iowa, most likely to know your corn's family history. Iowa takes corn seriously. Like, we don't joke about corn seriously. It's flat, friendly, and proud of its caucus powers. Probably the only state where farmers get followed by CNN during election season. Kansas, most likely to deny tornadoes, while sitting in one Kansas is Tornado Alley, land of endless skies, and suspiciously stubborn optimism. Yes, it's flat. Yes, the Wizard of Oz jokes are old, and yes, they will still roll their eyes when you bring it up, but they'll also give you a slice of pie and a weather report that'll save your life. Kentucky, most likely to be drunk on bourbon while riding a horse. You've got bluegrass, derby hats, and bourbon so good, it could probably end world wars. Kentucky is the kind of state where every uncle owns a fishing boat, even if there's no water nearby. It's like sipping whiskey on a front porch while someone yells, "Yeehaw," in the distance. Louisiana, most likely to throw a parade. Just because it's Tuesday, Louisiana isn't a state. It's a vibe, home to Mardi Gras, gumbo, and jazz that can literally possess your soul. This place turns everyday life into a celebration. Also the only state where it's perfectly legal to carry a daiquiri on the street. Probably. Maine, most likely to be haunted by a lobster ghost. Maine is spooky, foggy, and full of stories about mysterious creatures in the woods, mostly written by Stephen King, who still lives there and might be one of them. But really, Maine is lobster, lighthouses, and polite weather complaints. Maryland, most likely to ruin your shirt with crab seasoning. No state dumps more Old Bay on more things than Maryland. Fries, popcorn, coffee, doesn't matter, it gets the crab treatment. Baltimore also invented a unique dialect where hon is both a term of endearment and a warning. Massachusetts, most likely to get in a fistfight over clam chowder. Massachusetts is wicked smart, wicked cold, and wicked proud of being wicked. It gave us the American Revolution and Duncan. Boston drivers, an extreme sport. And if you diss Tom Brady, someone's throwing hands, probably in a Red Sox cap. Michigan, most likely to use a hand as a map. If a Michigander meets you, they will show you where they live using their hand. It's endearing until you realize they've pulled this trick on every person they've ever met. Also home of the Great Lakes, which look suspiciously like oceans, but have zero sharks. Win, Minnesota, most likely to kill you with kindness and cold. Minnesota nice is a real thing. So is Minnesota winter. You'll freeze solid but still get offered a casserole from someone in snowshoes. Land of 10,000 lakes and probably 10,000 polite apologies for bumping into you in the grocery store. Mississippi, most likely to win a biscuit baking showdown. Mississippi is syrupy, slow, and full of food that'll make you cry tears of gravy. It's also got deep musical roots. Blues was practically born here. Don't come unless you're ready to be fed, hugged, and possibly roped into a front porch jam session. Missouri, most likely to be two states, wearing one hat. Kansas City BBQ versus St. Louis pizza. Rural farms versus urban jazz. Missouri has a bit of everything and still manages to confuse every weather app. Also, the only place we're asking, "Where's the arch?" is not a metaphor. Montana, most likely to ghost you and go live in a cabin. Montana is huge, empty, and kind of into that. If you've got beef with the government, a beard, and a desire to hunt elk, Montana may already be calling your name. Home to big sky country and more flannel than a lumberjack convention. Nebraska, most likely to be way cooler than you expected. You were expecting flat, right? Cornfields and tumbleweeds? Well, you're not wrong, but Nebraska also has sand dunes, hidden waterfalls, and the College World Series. Also, most likely to say "ope" and squeeze past you politely. Nevada, most likely to lose your wallet and your dignity. Las Vegas alone gives Nevada its title as most likely to wake up with a face tattoo and a new spouse. But leave the Strip, and you'll find ghost towns, alien highways, and deserts so vast they could swallow your midlife crisis whole. New Hampshire, most likely to yell "live free or die." While recycling New Hampshire has the energy of a Revolutionary War reenactor who moonlights as a ski instructor, fiercely independent, shockingly beautiful in fall, and suspicious of outsiders. Their state motto? Not a joke. It's a lifestyle. New Jersey, most likely to cut you off in traffic and then offer you a cannoli. New Jersey is loud, proud, and probably yelling at you from a toll booth. But it's also got the best bagels, diners, and I don't take crap from anyone attitude this side of Brooklyn. Also, most confusing jug handle left turns per mile. New Mexico, most likely to be mistaken for a different country. Yes, it's in the United States. Yes, they use dollars. No, you don't need a passport. New Mexico is art, aliens, adobe, and enchiladas. It's where Georgia O'Keeffe meets Roswell, meets deep spiritual energy, most likely to convert you to yoga under the stars. New York, most likely to insult you and change your life in the same sentence. New York is like that friend who yells at you, but also gets you your dream job. Fast-paced, full of dreams and rats the size of raccoons, New York is a universe unto itself. Also the only place where $3,000 a month gets you a closet and a pizza guy who judges your order. North Carolina, most likely to have a BBQ war with its own brother. Eastern versus Western BBQ is a full-blown civil war in this state. One side swears by vinegar, the other by tomato. Both will fight to the death while offering you banana pudding. Also, mountains, beaches, and a lot of NASCAR stickers. North Dakota, most likely to pretend it's just fine, even in 40 degrees. North Dakota is cold, like spit turns to ice midair, cold, but the people, warmer than a buffalo blanket. It's flat, it's quiet, and it's got more oil than your uncle's garage, most likely to host a block party in a blizzard. Ohio, most likely to birth presidents and existential crisis memes. Ohio has everything: farmland, big cities, amusement parks, a suspicious obsession with roundabouts, and just enough weirdness to make it a running joke on the internet. Also, most astronauts per capita. Apparently, everyone wants to get off the planet. Oklahoma, most likely to have a tornado, named after your dog. Oklahoma is where the wind comes sweeping down the plain, and occasionally hurls cows at 70 miles per hour. Most tornadoes, most country songs written about it, and most likely to have a cousin named Dusty with an F5 storm-chasing rig. Oregon, most likely to grow kale in a flannel shirt. Oregon is like a farmer's market turned into a state. It's got Portland, America's capital of quirky beards and bicycle lanes, and enough forests to keep Bigfoot employed for centuries. Also the only state where your neighbor might be a vegan barista and a chainsaw sculptor. Pennsylvania, most likely to fight over sandwiches and football. In Pennsylvania, you've got Philly in the east, Pittsburgh in the west, and about 18,000 Wawas and deer in between. They'll throw snowballs at Santa, but also offer you a cheesesteak with love. Also, Amish country, which is real and low-key thriving. Rhode Island, most likely to be smaller than your backyard, but talk big anyway. Tiny but mighty, Rhode Island could fit inside your glove compartment but somehow has its own accent, culture, and a violent devotion to coffee milk. Yes, it's a thing. Most likely to be offended if you confuse it with Long Island. South Carolina, most likely to make you believe in sweet tea miracles. South Carolina is all about hospitality unless you insult the shrimp and grits. Palmetto trees, historic streets, and humidity thick enough to swim through. It's where manners meet mild heat stroke, and everyone has a rocking chair. South Dakota, most likely to carve a mountain just to prove a point. Mount Rushmore lives here, and it's exactly what it sounds like. 4 giant heads on a cliff. But South Dakota's got more. Badlands, buffalo, biker rallies, and probably the most patriotic gift shops per square mile in America. Tennessee, most likely to turn your breakup into a chart-topping song. From Nashville's Music Row to Memphis Blues, Tennessee is where broken hearts go to become platinum records. Also home to Dollywood, which might be the happiest place on earth not owned by Disney. Fried chicken, country music, and emotional whiplash await. Texas, most likely to be its own country and low-key knows it. Texas is big, 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 bigger than your ego big. It's proud, loud, and believes in brisket, boots, and the Second Amendment like it's gospel. Also, most counties, most trucks, most confidence. Everything's bigger. including the personalities. Utah, most likely to have 5 national parks and still complain it's crowded. Utah is nature's Instagram filter, red rocks, snowy mountains, and very clean streets. Also, most likely to own a minivan with 7 kids and still be 5 minutes early to church. Yes, it's beautiful. And yes, they're all in bed by 9 p.m. Vermont, most likely to be powered entirely by maple syrup and Bernie Sanders. If you've ever hugged a tree and apologized for stepping on moss, you'd love Vermont. It's peaceful, progressive, and shockingly obsessed with flannel and dairy cows. Also, most polite cows per capita. Possibly. Virginia, most likely to remind you it was first. A lot. Virginia wants you to know it's for lovers, but also that it started America. Thank you very much. History buffs rejoice. There's a battlefield every 15 feet. Also home to the CIA, which they won't confirm but definitely wink about. Washington, most likely to invent tech and then escape to a forest. Washington is part high-tech wizardry, part moss-covered fairy tale. Seattle gave you Starbucks, grunge, and the cloudy mood that came with it. The rest of the state, pine trees, Sasquatch rumors, and enough coffee to power a rocket. West Virginia, most likely to sing you a country road ballad without irony mountains. Check. Coal mines. Check. People who can build a porch, a moonshine still, and a fiddle from a single tree. Also check. Most likely to say, bless your heart, and genuinely mean it, possibly while holding a shotgun. Wisconsin, most likely to be made of 80% tea. Bees. Wisconsin is America's dairy fairyland. Cheese curds, packers, bratwursts, and more lakes than anyone truly needs. Most likely to wear a foam wedge of cheddar on their head without flinching. Also, beer. So much beer. Wyoming, most likely to be mistaken for a scenic screensaver. Wyoming is majestic, mysterious, and almost mythically empty. More cows than people, and that's not a joke. Yellowstone lives here. Cowboys roam. Internet is optional. Also most likely to host an introvert's ideal witness protection hideout. So there you have it. 50 states, 50 personalities, 50 reasons America is as weird, wild, and wonderful as a deep-fried Oreo at a state fair. From lobster ghosts to cowboy poets, mountain hermits to Florida men, the US of A is not one thing. It's 50 flavors of what the heck. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go order a crab-stuffed pizza bagel taco from a New Jersey, Delaware food truck operated by a guy named Tex from Montana.